Cross live to Tel Aviv and get more on this from Akiva Eldar, political analyst and contributor to Haaretz newspaper. Akiva, thanks very much, as always, for your time. What's your reaction then to the international condemnation so far of Israel's attack on this aid convoy? They're calling for an independent investigation. Israel has promised one of those. How confident are you that we'll see transparent findings of that investigation?
Well, Aaron, I think that Israel is not very happy with this. It's not serving the Israeli interest, what happened, this tragedy. Actually, it's worth mentioning that this organization has contributed a lot to the Israeli evacuees. Actually, in my neighborhood, there were many people who were evacuated from the homes in the mainly from the north, who were actually fed by this organization, and the Israeli organizers know them personally, the people who were killed. Of course, it will serve the Hamas psychological war against Israel. What Netanyahu has succeeded to do in 6 months, I think the BDS couldn't even dream of succeeding in more than 20 years. The problem that I see here is a combination of negligence. There are very young people who are serving in Gaza for more than 6 months. There is a fatigue and impunity. I don't believe that anybody will spend time in jail. They will be considered as victims of the situation, or as Netanyahu said, after a settler killed an Israeli who was suspected as being a terrorist, Netanyahu actually said, if I put it in translation to English, shit happens. And he said, well, during a wartime, people make mistakes. We have to take this, as well as killing children and other innocent people in Gaza. This is part of a war. It happens in Ukraine. It happened in Afghanistan, in Iraq. This is the name of the game.
And I appreciate it was a direct quote, but we will have to just apologise to anyone there who may have been offended by the language. Akiva, I'll move on to... Absolutely fine, apologies accepted now. We'll move on to... Well, you've talked about Netanyahu's position and these protests that are taking place, these nationwide protests. How significant are they, not only the numbers and the size of them, but it appears that for the first time, publicly at least, families of the hostages being held by Hamas are calling for his removal.
Yeah, you see, Aaron, since the Israeli opposition from the left is very weak, if not absent from the scene, the political scene, the demonstrators, those organizations that have been rallying against the judiciary revolution 6 months ago, are back in the streets, and they seem to be the real opposition now. And the Israeli public, who lost trust in the Labour Party and the Arab left, are now rallying, they are demonstrating, and this probably will force the Lapid party and Gantz, who joined the government, to move forward and to bring down Netanyahu. Even there are voices inside the Likud, among members of Knesset, who cannot ignore the volume of the protest. And people are staying in Jerusalem in tents for 4 days, and it accumulates. And I believe that, as many of my colleagues, that 2024 will be an election year.
Akiva, we thank you very much, as always, for joining us. Good to talk to you today.
Thank you, Aaron.